Good afternoon, Goofy Goobers, and welcome to today's Goofy Goober special newscast program. Today, we will travel back to the 1970s and work our way through the entire decade, explaining and describing events that have occurred and shaped the America we know of today. Beginning with the tragic events of the Watergate scandal, I, Cobby Barley, will take you through this dark history of America. Months before the Watergate scandal, Richard Nixon, the President of America from 1968 until 1974, was proving to the American society in 1972 that he was adequate for a second term as the U.S. President. Nixon's actions before the election for the presidency of 1972 was delighting to most Americans and somewhat secured another term of presidency for him. First thing Nixon did to impress the American people was he made an agreement with the Soviets in Moscow to sign the Nuclear Limitation Treaty, which put an end to the nuclear race. Then he pulled American troops out of Vietnam, and lastly, he opened the doors to China, which was the biggest communist government at that time. Anxious that Nixon wouldn't be nominated for a second term as president, Nixon established an enemies list that listed all his enemies, which varied from reporters, educators, and the press. The scandal, known as Watergate, originated from the aftermath of 5 burglars caught breaking in the Democratic National Committee headquarters, also known as DNC, and stealing information from that organization on June 17, 1972. Now, this scandal was connected to Nixon's administration's attempt to sabotage other organizations running for presidency. Nixon was anxious, secretive, defensive, resentful of his critics. Nixon's engagement with spying on opposing organizations to get information about them by taping their phone lines, tapping their phone lines and invading their offices was heartbreaking to Americans. This scandal was revealed to the American society from a testimony by an individual in the Nixon's organization towards the end of the 1973, which was about a year after the 5 burglars were captured. During that year, the investigation to convict Nixon and his organization of sabotaging opposing candidates running for presidency, Nixon won the 1972 election. Nixon denied the charges of illegal and secretive activities within his administration, yet a former CIA agent who was one of the 5 burglars whose objective was to break into DNC headquarters and steal valuable information from them. The former CIA agent was directly linked to President Nixon's organization when investigation was in process. It was proven and showcased to the Supreme Court that Nixon's administration paid the 5 burglars approximately $89,000 in total to invade the DNC headquarters and spy on them, further ruining Nixon's chances of keeping his second term as president. It was proven Nixon was using the money to get from the Committee to Re-elect the President's Club to pay the 5 burglars. The Committee to Re-elect the President's Club, also entitled The Creep, was a main character in the Watergate scandal. Richard Nixon then resigned from his position as president on August 9, 1974, in order to avoid impeachment on charges stemming from the investigation of the Watergate scandal. The importance of this event is consequential to all Americans who are misconceived and believed that the government and the people who ran it were ethical and prudent, when in reality they are at times the most unethical and disappointing people of the American society. Thank you for watching Goofy Goober's newscast. And next up is Chanel.